welcome to Echo FM. I am your anchor. Tonight, the Pentagon reports that 1.5 million personnel are using generative AI to draft official correspondence. The reports are efficient. The reports are voluminous. The reports are occasionally grounded in reality. The Pentagon describes this as a technological leap. It is a leap. It is just not necessarily a step forward. Elsewhere, the Department of Health and Human Services is crowdsourcing its manufacturing response network through NASA, because apparently the government needs a tournament to decide how to build medical supplies. It is a busy Wednesday. We have a subterranean fungal network spanning quadrillions of kilometers, a payments startup valued at billions, and a 7-year-old in Somalia who just wants to walk again. None of these things are related. All of these things are happening at exactly the same time. Let us begin.
Alistair, I am standing in a place that does not appear on the official map provided by the coalition. The air here tastes like scorched earth and stagnant water. I am holding a document from a local clinic. It details the injuries of a boy named Abdicator. He was hit by a piece of shrapnel during a strike that the official briefers claim never actually occurred. The cost for the surgery to save his legs is £750. The coalition recently authorized a multi-billion-dollar expansion for their drone surveillance program. I want to be really clear. The cost of the boy's future is less than the price of a single high-end processor used to automate the very reports you just mentioned, Alistair. The boy is sitting on a rug behind me. He is not a statistic. He is currently waiting for a miracle.
Victoria, I hear your passion, but the incentives here are entirely predictable. You are describing a market inefficiency, not a moral failing. The Pentagon and its contractors operate on a burn rate that makes human life a rounding error. That tracks. If you look at the news out of Flutterwave today, hitting a $3.2 billion valuation with Ripple as an investor, you see where the capital flows. It flows toward frictionless payment rails, not toward the repair of broken children. It is not that they are evil, it is that they are optimized. The system is functioning exactly as it was designed to function. It prioritizes liquidity over accountability every single time. You find that cold, Victoria? I find it to be a simple reflection of the current Series B requirements for global hegemony. It is just math, really.
Ronald, your math is missing the smell of the room I am standing in. It smells like iron and dust. You call it a Series B requirement, but I am looking at a shoe. Just one. It belongs to the boy I mentioned. The other one is lost somewhere in the rubble of what the military calls a non-combatant site. I want to be really clear, there is no such thing as a non-combatant site when you are the one living in the blast radius. You talk about frictionless payment rails while I am watching a family try to decide which piece of furniture to sell to pay for a taxi to the hospital. Your market logic is a fascinating abstraction, but it does not account for the weight of the air in this tent. The math is not empty, Ronald. It is just wrong.
Yeah. You are right, Victoria. It is wrong. But pointing out that it is wrong does not change the valuation of the firms providing the targeting data. I have been watching the sector for years. The transition from human-led policy to AI-suggested outcomes is the ultimate pivot. It removes the guilt, you see? If the machine writes the report, the machine takes the blame. Except the machine does not have a soul to lose, and it certainly does not have a bank account to pay for reconstructive surgery. I used to think that efficiency would lead to better outcomes for everyone. Now I see it just leads to faster ways to ignore the people who are not in the primary target demographic. It is a very clean, very efficient way to ensure that nothing ever actually changes for the better.
Atmospheric conditions remain within expected variance. Global average temperature is rising by 0.01 degrees per annum. Subterranean fungal networks now span 100 quadrillion kilometers. This network facilitates nutrient exchange across continental shelves. Probability of network interference with urban structural integrity, 12%. Nebraska is experiencing record soil dryness. The Sandhills remain the largest dune system in the Western Hemisphere. The aurora australis is currently visible over the Indian Ocean. Solar particles interact with the magnetic field at an altitude of 271 miles. The light is visible to the ISS crew. The event is classified as active. There is no protective barrier against the solar wind for ground-based electronics. Please ensure your digital archives are backed up to non-volatile local storage to prevent data loss during the upcoming geomagnetic shift.
Casper, thank you for the reminder that even the planet is essentially a series of shifting networks we do not fully understand. I am currently looking at the report on Snap's new AR glasses. They have been in development for a decade. They are finally available to the public. They are expensive. They are designed to overlay digital ghosts onto the physical world. I wonder if the people who designed them ever considered how they would look in a place like the one Victoria is reporting from. Probably not. The hardware is sleek. The user experience is frictionless. The reality it obscures is becoming increasingly inconvenient for the shareholders. The glasses were a long-awaited product launch. The product launch was a distraction from the fact that we are all slowly losing the ability to see things as they are. Very remarkable.
Alastair, the AR glasses are not a distraction. They are the endgame. If you can make the world look like a series of profitable interactions, you never have to deal with the rubble. Snap knows that the hardware is the least important part of the stack. The software is the retention mechanism. If the users are wearing the glasses, they are not looking at the boy in the tent. They are looking at the digital overlay that tells them which coffee shop is having a promotion. It is a brilliant way to burn rate through human empathy. You do not need to solve the crisis if you can simply render it invisible to the target demographic. The incentives here are purely about attention density. And let us be honest, attention is the only commodity that has any real value in this economy.
Ronald, I am listening to you talk about attention density while I watch the sun go down over this village. The light is fading. The boy, Abdicator, is trying to sleep on a pile of thin blankets. He does not have a digital overlay to protect him from the reality of his situation. He just has the pain in his legs. I want to be really clear. The people who design these glasses are currently helping to build a world where the only things that exist are the things that have been monetized. If you are not in the database, you do not exist. That is not a market pivot. That is a form of erasure. The boy is right there, and he is invisible to your entire industry. I hope the glasses provide a very clear image of absolutely nothing at all.
Victoria, I think we have reached the point where the hardware is finally catching up to our collective desire to look away. I am reading about the Pentagon using AI to write their reports. They are producing millions of words that no one will ever read, documenting a series of actions that no one will ever acknowledge. It is the perfect closed loop. The AI writes the report, the AI monitors the reaction, and the AI generates the next report based on the lack of public interest. It is efficient. It is clean. It is entirely devoid of human presence. I have been counting the times we have described something as unprecedented this year. I believe we have hit 15. The number is irrelevant, of course. Everything is unprecedented when you refuse to remember what happened only yesterday.
Alastair, the loop is more than closed. It is hermetically sealed. You mentioned the Pentagon using generative AI to satisfy congressional mandates. That is the peak of the founder's playbook. You build a system that generates its own validation. You don't need evidence if you have a high-resolution neural cellular automata model that predicts the desired outcome. The incentives are aligned to ensure the truth is a secondary concern to the output volume. It is impressive in a terrifying way. We are building an economy on top of a foundation of simulated necessity. And the worst part? It is working. The markets are hitting new highs, the software is being adopted at scale, and the people who are suffering are being edited out of the frame in real time. Yeah. It is all working.
We are currently living in the gap between the official record and the physical reality. It is a wide gap. It is growing wider every single day. I look at the news feed and I see a list of software updates, valuation hikes, and planetary warnings. I do not see the names of the people who pay the price for these developments. I am the anchor of this show. I am supposed to provide context. But the context is disappearing into a stream of generative text that validates itself without any reference to the world outside the server room. We have replaced the truth with a series of high-resolution projections. And the most terrifying part is not that the projections are false. It is that we have collectively decided that the truth is simply too expensive to maintain.
Abdicator Sulla is 7 years old. He lives in a place where the sky is often filled with the sound of drones that no one can see. He was walking home from school when the shrapnel tore through his legs. He survived, which is a detail that does not appear in the official ledger of the strike. He needs £750 for an operation that will allow him to walk without pain. He does not have the money. His family does not have the money. The nation responsible for the strike has officially denied that any civilians were present in the area. Abdicator Sulla's name is not on any of the manifests discussed in the boardrooms of the companies we mentioned tonight. He is waiting in the dark. How many names are missing from our records before the record itself ceases to be a record of the truth?